Hey guys, welcome back. Behavior Strategies for Class here. And this is where we empower educators with effective behavior management strategies that work. We're not just blowing smoke around here, guys. We've got concrete evidence-based strategies that work and will help your challenging students. And so today we're talking about thriving, learning, nurturing your students' well-being. Now, I know some of you are like, I'm not there to nurture, like I'm there to teach. But guys, we're talking about the whole child again, teaching the whole child. And when you nurture your students' well-being, which is their mental health, your students are going to thrive because your students' well-being goes beyond the academics. You're fostering resilience, building confidence, emotional intelligence. And all of these are working together for your student to succeed and thrive in your classroom. So what are some practical ways that you can accomplish this? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today. So listen in, guys. Welcome to Behavior Strategies for Class. I am Diane Bachman, your behavior paraprofessional with over 15 years of experience working in special education. And I'm so glad you're here because I'll be teaching you about social emotional learning, behavior strategies, trauma-informed care, and more. So if you are tired of being frustrated and not knowing what to do with your students who have challenging and disruptive behavior, you're in the right place. Now, if you're ready to become more equipped to help your students learn and grow, let's listen in to today's episode. Of course, before we get started, hit that subscribe button, share this episode, share this podcast with other educators you know so that we can continue to grow from each other and learn and strive as we help students succeed. So today, how can you help your students thrive and learn? By nurturing their students' well-being. Well, I think of some of the students that I've worked with in the past, and in nurturing their well-being, we have had to modify, adapt their learning environments. So not all of our students were able to stay successful in a gen ed classroom 100% of the time. And that was due to many different reasons, but ultimately it was outside forces. So outside family situations going on where some of our students really could not get it together to be successful in the classroom. So in order to help them with their well-being, we would take them out of the gen ed class, and we had our own classroom, and we were able to continue to do learning with them in that environment instead. And so I'm not saying like you're going to have to pull like half of your class out and do learning somewhere else, but knowing that there are modifications, obviously, that you can do to help your students' well-being. Not only, because like I said, your students' well-being goes beyond learning their academics. It's building their confidence, their resiliency, their grit, if you will, their emotional intelligence, becoming self-aware and being able to be their own self-advocate for what they need. And that's what's been exciting, watching our students be able to express that, not always in the best way, but definitely verbally. They have gotten much better at verbally expressing, you know what, I'm frustrated. I don't want to be here. I hate doing math. I need a break. All of the things. And, we don't ding them for any of that because we're so glad that they're actually expressing it with their words for the most part before any destructive behavior comes out. Other times, some students, it's their behavior that speaks first before they can verbalize what's going on, what they're feeling, what they need. And so that's also another thing that I have learned, is that asking your students, well, what do you need right now? Like, how can I help you right now? Obviously, we're not able to fix all of these crazy family dynamics and situations, but you can help them at that moment, whatever it is that they're going through. At that moment, what do they need? Sometimes our students have said, I need a snack, or I need something to drink, or I need a walk, or I need a break, or I just need some help, and sometimes we're able to help them in the classroom. Sometimes we take them out in the hallway where obviously it's a little more quiet and we can focus in and help them get through whatever assignment they're working on. So helping our students and watching them grow and seeing them use their words instead of their fists, that's always much better for us and for them, of course, has been really exciting. And I'm sure you can also see growth in your students who maybe, again, who have lashed out, but now we're able to use their words instead of, combating whoever's around them, because that's fun. We actually didn't have too many fights this year, but we definitely had a couple fights. So no fun, but teaching them, use your words, guys, use your words. Anyway, so what are some ways that you can help support and nurture your students' well-being? One of them is by helping them with their emotional intelligence. So this is really teaching them to be self-aware and helping them identify, like, how are you feeling? And we use the ruler, and so we have a feelings chart. And so in each classroom, there's one up, and sometimes we're just like pointing, where are you at on the chart? And they can express it that way. Other times they can tell you right off, like, I'm really mad, or, I'm frustrated, I don't want to do it, all of the things. But giving them a minute to express all of that. But then we have to bring it back and be like, well, but, we're in school. So this is what we're doing. We're doing our learning. And that involves doing our work and bringing it back there. They don't always like that answer, but that's the truth. And that's what we have to get them through. And that's building that resilience, building their confidence and knowing, like, you can push through. I love that saying, when the kids are like, well, this is too hard. It's too hard. I don't like it. It's too hard. And we always remind them, like, you can do hard things. You can do hard things. I love that saying because it really does foster that resilience and builds their confidence and knowing that they can do hard things. They can push through even when they don't want to. Because we all have that, and that is just a part of life. And, so it's important that they learn that. So acknowledging their emotions, supporting them when they're feeling those big emotions. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean like you sit next to them, you give them a side hug, you just sing Kumbaya. Like that's not what I mean. I mean, if it calls for that, I would totally do that. And I have done that. But for the most part, it's just acknowledging. And as you acknowledge how they're feeling, that shows support right there. So you acknowledge, I see you're frustrated. I see you're, sad. I see you're mad. Whatever it is, it shows support. Another way that you can grow their emotional intelligence is by having a SEL time. So you have a social emotional learning time. You go through a lesson. I know our school counselor has been going through those lessons with classrooms. And sometimes, if you don't have that, then you can find all kinds of books that you could just read to your class, or a short video to show your class, and then discuss whatever the emotion was, that you're teaching about. There's lots of different ways that you can get that social emotional learning in that will really help them identify and be able to acknowledge how they're feeling and what their emotions are. Another way that you can help nurture your students' well-being is by addressing their anxiety. So many kids have anxiety. Some of it, I think, is they put it on themselves, right? You have those high performers and they are really struggling and give themselves anxiety because they didn't get 100% on like all of their assignments, Some of their anxiety, again, is from family situations, or some of it's, clashing with peers, or clashing, with you as their teacher, whatever it is, or other adults, in the building. Lots of kids have anxiety. How can you help them? One way is by having a calm learning environment. A lot of our teachers cover up, because we still have fluorescent lights in our building. We're actually getting ready to switch out so we can get the LEDs, but that fluorescent light, is like bright and annoying. And so a lot of our teachers have covered up some of those lights. So it's not super bright, but obviously it's not super dark either. So they cover it up like every other one. Some teachers, they have on half of their lights, and then they have, other standing lamps in their classroom. Other classrooms, depending on where they are, they have a lot of natural light coming in. So they don't turn on any lights in their class. And that really does just give a calm feeling in the classroom. So that's one way, by controlling the lights and how much lights do you need in your class. Another way is by having that calm, quiet corner in your classroom. When you can see like that student is really anxious, really amped up, like, buddy, go sit in the calm corner for a few minutes. Give them a space where they can go and just chill out for a minute, and then be able to come back to their learning. I'm telling you guys, like, that is huge for your students. As long as they're using it correctly, right? They're not taking advantage. You regulate it. You have the expectations, and they know if they don't stay to those expectations, then they're out of that calm corner. But ultimately, giving them a little bit of space away from their learning for a minute really does help them come back, be able to come back and focus back in on their learning. Another way to help address anxiety is journaling. Like, I'm going to push journaling because it really does make a difference. Letting them write it all out, because sometimes they don't want to tell anybody else about it, but being able just to get it all out helps to relieve some of that anxiety. So another way to help nurture your students' well-being is teaching them that self-regulation. That, I think, is a huge struggle for a lot of students. Being able to regulate themselves when they are feeling that angst, that anger, that frustration, that sadness. How can they come back and get to their learning? And one way is by teaching them the breathing. And there's all kinds of breathing exercises, the candles blowing out, you're counting to 10, whatever it is. There's all kinds of different posters. There's all kinds of different Go Noodles or videos online that you can watch on what breathing exercises work. And they really do work, because I do use them, especially sometimes at night. Like, your mind goes 100 miles an hour, even though you're like physically tired, but being able to just kind of bring it back down, that deep breathing has really helped me just come back and relax so that I can sleep. Yes. Thank you, Jesus. Like, I need the sleep. And so that deep breathing really does help calm the body, calm the mind. So self-regulation, sometimes students, they do need to talk to somebody else. Are they able to do it at that exact time? I don't know. Whatever it works for your schedule, your classroom, and is the counselor available that they can talk to? Sometimes it's also just giving them time. I feel like we really want to kind of speed things up. Like, I see you're dysregulated, you're upset. Okay, do your breathing. You're done. Let's go. We want to just kind of push through because you do have so much to teach. You have so much going on. But I feel like it's really important, and I've seen it, where students just need a minute. And sometimes some of our students have told us, like, I don't want to talk right now. Don't talk to me. Or can you give me space? They'll actually ask us, can you give me space? Or, I need time. It's like, okay, I'll give you time. And really, for the most part, I know you're probably thinking, okay, so now they're looking at, I need a half an hour or I need an hour. And they don't. They really just need a few minutes. And I know sometimes that may seem like a lot, and maybe just give them a minute and then check back in. We've done that as well. You give them a minute and then you check in. It's like, are you ready to talk? And sometimes it's yes, and other times it's no. And so we're able to give another minute. And then we just kind of do that because we don't want to lose them in that. And again, yes, we don't want them to take advantage of that time as well. But then it just reminds them, like, we are still listening. We are still ready. We are still here. So giving a little time for that self-regulation. Another way to nurture your students' well-being is by making sure you have inclusive spaces. And we didn't really have any students in a wheelchair, but I've been in schools where there are students in wheelchairs. And can they access things in your classroom? Are they able to get around in the classroom? In designated areas, is everybody able to access that learning? As far as like iPad time, or maybe reading centers or math centers, the calm corner, like I said, is everybody able to access that? Or even the library. I know all the classes have their own little library in their classroom. Is everybody able to access it? Obviously at different times throughout the day. But to know that everything is for everybody. I think when we first started talking about having calm corners, we were just talking about our students. So our students that were in the behavior program. But we soon came to realize that everybody can benefit from using that calm corner. So we've made it, we talk about it, and it's for everybody. So anybody who's feeling angst, anybody in the classroom can go over and access that calm corner for a minute. Or anybody can access, the school counselor or whatever it is. Anybody can learn how to do those breathing exercises. Like, all of this helps everybody. Where, like I said before, when we started with some of this, we were like, okay, these are for our students in the behavior program. But then again, like I said, realizing that everyone can benefit, and everybody, it's important for them to learn as well. So some of the ways that you can help nurture your students' well-being is by helping them learn and acknowledge their emotions, by helping them to address anxiety, teaching them how to self-regulate, and making sure you have inclusive spaces in your classroom. So what are the benefits of this? What are the benefits of nurturing your students' well-being? Well, you're going to have a more positive school climate. You're going to have a supportive classroom environment. Your students will have access to mental health resources. Like I said, like your school counselor, maybe posters, journaling, things like that. It's fostering those positive relationships, and it really encourages a growth mindset. So again, all of these things work together to help your student thrive and learn, and you're nurturing their well-being. So I want to leave you with a quote, and this is, "When we nurture a child's whole being, we open doors to endless possibilities." And that is by Susan Wright. So again, you're nurturing the whole student, and you give them those endless possibilities as you continue to teach. And that's what it's all about, right? For them to learn and grow and know that there are endless possibilities for them. You are opening that door as you nurture your students' well-being. So thanks so much for listening, guys. And remember, like, you really are making a difference every single day that you are teaching. All right, I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. I truly appreciate your support. And if I have encouraged you, motivated you to continue to learn, to support your students, even better, to help them strive in your classroom, please leave a review, hit that subscribe button so that others can see they can learn and grow here as well. Thank you.